Welcome to this webinar regarding using the PIC Error Dashboard to identify PIC errors. This training was prepared by CVR Associates Incorporated. This webinar will review the PIC Error Dashboard and each of the 6 reports contained in the dashboard. 3 of the reports are dedicated to fatal errors, and 3 of the reports are dedicated to overdue reexaminations. We will also discuss how HUD uses the reports to monitor PHA activity and how your PHA might find the reports useful to monitor your own PHA's activity. Let's start by reviewing PIC and why PIC reporting is important. If you have not had an opportunity to review the Introduction to the PIC Error Dashboard webinar, please view the training on HUD Exchange prior to starting this training session. The Inventory Management System PIC Information Center, or PIC, is the computer system used by HUD to review and monitor information submitted by public housing authorities regarding participants in subsidized housing programs. PHAs use the HUD Form 50058 to electronically submit tenant data from the system of record to HUD. The 50058 contains information about demographics and citizenship status for all household members, any disability status of household members, income and assets, the subsidized unit the family is leasing, and rent calculations. HUD uses the information submitted in PIC on the 50058 to monitor PHA performance and assess the effectiveness of affordable housing programs, analyze the program and determine future funding levels, detect fraud and monitor family compliance with income reporting requirements and other aspects of eligibility for housing assistance, provide information to Congress and other parties, and also provide information to HUD's Enterprise Income Verification System, or EIV, a computer matching system that verifies tenant reported income and confirmed tenant identity data. The PIC Error Dashboard is compiled of 6 reports which provide information about fatal errors and overdue re-exams. Let's take a look at the different reports, starting with the fatal error reports. A fatal error is an error on the Form 50058 that is serious and will cause the 50058 to be rejected in PIC, and it will stop the processing of the submission for that household. Fatal errors should be reviewed as soon as possible to determine the cause of the error. Errors should be corrected by the PHA, and the 50058 should be resubmitted to PIC for acceptance. Errors that are not corrected and age over time will cause a family's subsequent 50058s to be rejected in the PIC system until the fatal errors are corrected. Additionally, PIC must receive 50058 submissions in chronological order. There are over 600 types of fatal errors. You can visit the link at the bottom of this slide to review the full list of fatal errors and instructions on how to correct the errors. Here is a listing of the most common types of fatal errors. Depending on the program type, some errors may overlap. You can also review videos and handouts on common PIC errors and instructions on how to repair them by checking the materials available on the HUD Exchange. Please note that all links referenced in this training are available in the video description and on HUD Exchange. Since HUD uses the Form 50058 to track assisted families in a PHA's program and determine appropriate funding levels for your PHA, if errors are not corrected in a timely manner, it could impact the PHA's annual CMAP, or Section 8 Management Assessment Program, scoring. Let's explore the 6 reports on the PIC Error Dashboard, how the reports are used by HUD, and how they can be used by your PHA. If you think your PHA is alone in having fatal errors, you are not. The HUD PIC reporting system is set up to accept 50058 transactions in sequential order, and fatal errors must be corrected. The 50058 Fatal Errors Summary Report is a full summary of all PHAs with fatal errors, the number of unique PIC rejections, and the number of PIC tickets and 50058 forms needing revisions. This report can be filtered by state, PHA code, and program type, which are MTW, voucher, and public housing. There is also a field office filter, which is used by HUD. This information is current as of the date in the upper right-hand corner. This report is dynamic, and once a PHA is selected, it can also be used to see specific fatal error information at a PHA level. While your PHA may not access this report regularly, HUD is providing your PHA with a tool to access this information in one page in one report. PHAs will need to reference the ticket number, form number, and error number shown in the dashboard to identify and correct fatal errors in PIC. The PIC Error Guidebook also provides additional details on correcting PIC fatal errors. The Fatal Errors Monitoring Report shows the PHAs with a large number of 50058 fatal errors. The table on the left shows PHAs with a large percent of errors as compared to the PHA portfolio size. And the report on the right shows the PHAs with the most 50058 fatal errors. This report can be used to monitor fatal error activity as a whole and make determinations on which PHAs may need technical assistance with correcting fatal errors. Using the blue buttons, you can view data by program type, including a look at all programs, voucher errors only, public housing errors only, and MTW. Here is an example of a PHA selection for voucher errors only. This PHA has an HCV unit count of 521 units, and there are 238 total fatal errors. This is an error rate of 46%. The number of errors at this PHA are more than 40% of this PHA's HCV portfolio size. This information will help your PHA understand if additional training may be needed for your PHA staff and help HUD effectively support PHAs in providing assistance. If your PHA needs additional help in correcting PIC errors, please reach out to your PIC coach who can provide you with technical assistance. HUD has implemented several types of 50058 action types that PHAs must use when processing 50058s. These action types, which are represented here, each serve a specific purpose. If you ever need to refer to which action type your PHA should use for a family, you can always look at the HUD Form 50058 under Section 2. Please note that all links referenced in this training are available in the video description and on HUD Exchange. The 50058 Common Fatal Errors Report looks at the types of actions that have errors in order to better understand the impact fatal errors have on program management. The PIC Error Guidebook provides more detailed information about each action type. Because HUD 50058 submissions must be done in a specific order, it is important that the correct action type be used. If not, this will cause fatal PIC errors. It is also important to note that some action types will result in housing assistance payments to landlords, while others will not. The actions that result in paying 50058s are 1, 2, 3, 4, and 7. Paying 50058s will impact VMS and EVMS financial reporting. Action types 5, 6, and 9 may stop payments depending on how your system of record is set up. The common 50058 Fatal Errors Report allows HUD to see the 50058 records that were rejected in PIC by action type. Your PHA should find this report very useful. Not only can you see the fatal PIC errors by each action type, but you can also use this information to determine error trends and develop training for your staff. You can locate your PHA by filtering by the state and your PHA code. The information on the left will show the number of unique errors by action type. The information on the right will show the total number of unique errors by action type category. These reporting metrics allow your PHA to understand the types of 50058 submissions that have fatal errors and will allow you to develop training for your staff. Remember, as errors are corrected in PIC, they will fall off of the PIC Error Dashboard reports at the next weekly update. Now that we have reviewed the fatal error reports in the PIC Error Dashboard, let's review the next set of reports, which relate to overdue reexaminations. For each assisted family, your PHA is required to complete an annual reexamination. Annual reexams, or Action Type 2, must be submitted to PIC on an annual basis. If an Action Type 2 is not submitted to PIC by month 14, it is considered overdue. Please note, HUD is aware that false positive flags will be created for PHAs utilizing biennial and triennial reexams and/or inspections for household at 14 or greater months. If you are an approved PHA, please ensure the 50058 is accepted in PIC within 60 days of the effective date, so it is not considered late, in accordance with 24 CFR 928.158 and PIH Notice 2011-65. For example, if a family's annual reexamination month is February 1 and the 50058 is not submitted to PIC by April 1, HUD considers it overdue. Overdue reexams can impact your CMAP scores. It is possible that an overdue reexam may be caused by other action types, such as Action 1 or new admission, Action 4, port move-in, or a number 3 interim. If an action type 1 or 4 is the only 50058 record and it's been 14 or more months, this would also be considered overdue. If it is a number 3 interim, you should ensure that the projected next re-exam date is correct. This is on line 2I of the 50058. The Overdue Reexam Summary Report allows HUD to see the number of PHAs with overdue reexams greater than or equal to 14 months. It also displays the average months that the reexams are overdue and the total number of overdue reexams. Remember, an overdue reexam is an action type 2 that is greater than or equal to 14 months. A PHA can filter by state and PHA code to see the overdue reexams specific to your agency. You can also sort the data by error status to determine if there is a fatal error. Click on the error status header to sort the errors by no pending rejections or forms rejected. An error status of no pending rejections means that the reexamination is overdue and has potentially not been submitted to PIC. For these files, you should check your system of record to ensure that a reexam was completed. If it was completed, determine if the record was submitted to PIC. If not, submit the record to PIC. If the record was submitted to PIC, resubmit the record. Your PHA should develop a plan to account for all reexaminations that are greater than 14 months and ensure they are submitted to PIC. An error status of form rejected means that the reexamination was submitted to PIC, but the 50058 form was rejected by PIC. For these files, you should check the system of record to determine how to correct the PIC error, correct any errors, and resubmit the 50058 to PIC. For records with an error status of forms rejected, you can use the drill down feature by right-clicking on the record, choose Drill Through, and then select Drill Down Forms Rejected. Once you have drilled down on the record, you will see the participant's initials. Use PIC to locate the ticket number and form number to determine the error. Use this information to correct the error in the system of record and resubmit the 50058 to PIC. The Overdue Reexams Monitoring Report shows a list of PHAs that have the most overdue reexams equal to or greater than 14 months, both in total number and as a percentage of their portfolio size. This report may not be applicable to your PHA if your PHA does not have overdue reexams greater than 30% of your unit portfolio size. If your PHA is not listed on this report, it is because the error rate is not over 30% of your portfolio size. You should still continue to check any overdue reexams that may appear on the previous report, the Overdue Reexam Summary. Using the blue buttons on the Overdue Reexams Monitoring Report, you can see all programs, choose Voucher Program Only, or the Public Housing Program Only. This list is sorted by Voucher Program Only. You'll see at the top right corner there are approximately 106,000 overdue reexams in the voucher program. The Overdue Reexams Form Rejected report provides a list and summary of all overdue reexams because the 50058 form has a fatal error and was rejected in PIC. In this example, there are 1,050 PHAs with overdue reexams because the 50058 forms were rejected in PIC, and there are 21,000 overdue reexams due to the form being rejected in PIC. A PHA may filter to view their specific 50058 overdue reexam information. You can identify the 50058 error information in PIC by using the participant's initials, rejected ticket number, form number, and other information listed on the report. These PIC submissions need to be corrected and resubmitted to PIC. When correcting 50058 transactions in your system of record, mark 2C as a correction. Mark 2D as the correction type. There may be times when it is not necessary to do a correction to a 50058 record. You may just simply need to resubmit it to PIC. If this is the case, you do not need to mark 2C as a correction. Now that we have reviewed each of the 6 reports in the PIC Error Dashboard, let's review a timeline by which you should have your PIC errors completed and a summary of all of the PIC Error Dashboard reports. On a weekly basis, your PHA should review and verify the corrections no longer appear on the PIC Error Dashboard. Remember to check the Data Current As Of box in the upper right corner of the screen. By midnight on the Thursday before the first Friday of the following month, PHAs should transmit the HUD Form 50058 for inclusion in HUD summarization data. On the Friday evening of the following month, Form 50058 module begins the summarization process which can take approximately 30 to 40 hours for HUD to process. During the second week of the month, PHAs should access and review the Form 50058 module in PIC. The PIC Error Dashboard updates on a weekly basis, and the Data Current As Of box in the upper right-hand corner will show you when it was last updated. Most corrected errors should fall off the dashboard at the weekly update. However, you may find that some corrected errors may still appear on the dashboard after the weekly update. If you have corrected the error in PIC, but it is not removed from the dashboard, you may need to submit a request to HUD to remove the error. HUD has created a request form for your PHA to submit. This form can be located on HUD's website, and you can also work with your PIC coach to review errors and submit the form. Teach your staff about PIC errors and what they mean, and how to avoid making PIC errors to help minimize the administrative burden of correcting PIC errors. Here is a summary of each of the 6 PIC Error Dashboard reports and the purpose of each report. Please take a moment to review and think about how each of these reports may be useful to your PHA. In addition to this webinar, you can find the Introduction to the PIC Error Dashboard webinar, the PIC Error Correction Guidebook, and videos and handouts on correcting PIC errors located on the HUD Exchange. You can also access IMS PIC manuals on HUD's website to see comprehensive instruction on IMS PIC submodules. Please note that all links referenced in this training are available in the video description and on HUD Exchange. Once you have finished this webinar, please complete the survey link in HUD Exchange to provide feedback on this training, as well as provide topics that you would like additional training for. We want to acknowledge HUD's support. These materials were developed under an award from HUD and are dedicated to the public. Please take a moment to review HUD's acknowledgement of support. Thank you for participating in this webinar. Please check HUD Exchange for additional resources, and don't forget to contact your PIC coach should you need additional support in correcting your PIC errors.